Okay, welcome back to the video, guys. Thanks for tuning back in. So for today's video installment, we're going to be covering my individual plan as it pertains to my lower back injury and getting back to training with weights. So, as you know, McGill Big 3 is going to be done prior to training, and that's being utilized 1 to 2 times per day. If I want to increase my volume or my training output, these are some of the exercises that I'm utilizing that's helping me stimulate endorphins and also get a little bit of energy expenditure as it correlates to where I'm weak. So I had torn my ACL, my meniscus, 13 years ago at this point, which then set off a cascade of effects into lower back issues. So ATG program for me, strengthening my left knee in comparison to my right knee. That tends to be something that sticks out to me even when I was progressing and had zero lower back pain. I was getting some knee tendonitis on that left side. So if I can strengthen and bulletproof my knees and also improve some of my hip flexor flexibility, surely my lower back would be in a better position for when I start incorporating the weight training. So this is what I'm utilizing. It's not for everybody. If you feel like it's something that can be beneficial to you, fantastic. But this is, again, something that's centered around my own training based off of my weaknesses as it pertains to my lower back health. So tune in, comment, like, and subscribe, and let's chat in the comments. Thank you. All right, so jumping right in. Some of the exercises are going to be narrated over. Some of them are obviously not going to be narrated over. Any rep scheme that's over 10 reps is going to be double speed for the sake of the audience. But I'm going to cover what we're doing here. So knees over toes, calf raises, trying to warm up the old body, get some flexion in the ankles, which is an opportunity for me. I did 2 rounds of the knees over toes and I moved on to tib raises. So all of these guys are going to be high repetitions, driving some blood into areas that we typically don't get blood into over the course of the day. Just getting us ready for the ATG split squats. So tib raises, knees over toe, calf raises, and that's going to follow us into the Patrick step, which is debuting right now. So just warming up the knees, trying to get in the best position possible to be able to hit my primary movement, which is the ATG split squat, which we do for 5 rounds of 5. I was decently sore after doing this the following day. A lot of my pain that I get is not necessarily muscle pain. It's all joint and nerve pain as I'm combating the lower back injury. So there's not much I can physically do from a body weight standpoint that's really going to drive up like the hypertrophy side of the spectrum. As you guys know, a lot of my primary movements is going to be done in a gym setting. So using my own body weight of 240 pounds isn't necessarily going to put me into a position where I have muscle soreness or anything like that. But we just got to be super mindful of not driving inflammation up for the following day in relation to my back. So ATG split squats right here. You're going to notice that as the video continues onwards, I get a lot lower. Form gets better. There's a lot less shifting. I'm trying to maintain neutral spine positioning the entire time. I'm bracing my core as I go down for every single rep. I'm going to be honest, this movement is difficult for my ankles because my ankles are super, super tight. You'll notice that my heels come off the floor. That's actually something that is advised in the ATG program until you get to a position where you have better ankle mobility. I would say the biggest difference or indicator for me is my right side versus my left side. I mentioned initially that I tore my ACL meniscus on my left side, so there's a ton of scar tissue on that side, so it's really hard for me to flex my knee to its full entirety with hamstring the calf. It just feels like there's a big knot effectively stopping me from full range of motion. I do get pretty low, but it definitely feels like there's something going on in there, some residual scar tissue that we have not worked out through. Could also be due to the screw that's in my knee, which was never removed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. ATG split squats, like I said, for 5 rounds. and then we'll go into some of the stretching portion of the workout. Moving on to elephant walks. So this one is a really great exercise if you're trying to stimulate the nerve. So for me, again, sciatica, pretty rampant on my left side. Every time I straighten out my hamstring, this is in double speed. This is why this is moving so fast. I'm getting a nice little pain shot down the left side, but I know that it's basically flossing the nerve, providing more room effectively for the nerve root to function as I continue my training. So elephant walks, that was definitely pretty sore the next day. So just be careful if you're doing that one for the first time. I did that for 2 sets and I moved on to my couch stretch. So as I mentioned, hip flexors super tight, really trying to work that left side and driving that knee into the floor, pushing my body forward while obviously maintaining good neutral core positioning. And I did the couch stretch both sides for about 60 seconds apiece. So I'm not overdoing it. This is the first time I did the HEG program for the week because I felt a little bit better. So I'm trying to ramp up my volume, not necessarily the intensity, but just ramp up the volume and see how the body responds. As I mentioned, a little bit of extra soreness I noticed the next day. Wasn't a big deal, just continue to ice and take anti-inflammatories as prescribed, and we were fine the following day. So all in due course, working what we need to work on, getting better at some of the opportunities, and at the same time, burning a little extra calories. The final stretch that's gonna happen very shortly here is a, heightened position pigeon. So for any of you who are currently battling a disc herniation that is producing sciatica, you know how hard it is for your leg to get into any type of position with the pigeon stretch. Extremely difficult. You're gonna notice that my left knee is almost like frozen in that position. But as I continue to do the stretch, it goes lower and lower, and I'd have no problem putting on a sock or tying a shoe at that point. So that's what we're trying to get back to as a baseline. We're trying to get that leg down with hopefully no pain as time goes by, which is then gonna theoretically increase the flexibility for your overall well-being. So this is recreated on both sides. As I mentioned, my left side is the massive opportunity where the pain is. Didn't feel too much pain, actually felt really good doing this stretch. So obviously if you do feel pain, please stop the stretch, but understand that you have to work through some of these ranges of motion if you're gonna be able to exist pre-injury. And that's gonna conclude the video. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have similar hip muscle imbalances like I do, I think this is a really great routine. Structurally, it's gonna be hip flexors hips, knees, tibs, a little bit of calves in there, and obviously some stretching. Use it and see how your body does. Thank you. We'll see you guys next week.